Hey there, legends. Andrew Nagel from Oxygen Labs, and I wanted to take a quick second to kind of break down something that I see a lot of people struggle with from time to time, right? And that's really like, how do I connect with and like re-engage people or like reach out to somebody that I haven't talked to in a while? And although this applies to pretty much anybody that you're reaching out to, whether it's a cold DM or it's something that's just cooled off or whatever, you got to think about this like it's a real life actual situation, right? Like it's a real interaction that you're having with a genuine human being that's on the other end. And is that person going to want to respond to you positively with what you're sending to them? Right? And so we've got somebody here in one of the groups that I'm a member of that brings up a valid question, and I see what he's asking. So he or she, not too sure, but they say, these are leads essentially that we haven't talked to in quite some time, right? And so they're trying to think about like, how do I re-engage these individuals, right? How do I speak to them and get them to respond to me? And so they were thinking something along the lines of, hi, so-and-so. It's been some time since we last reached out. Previously, someone from my team spoke with you around whatever it was that they talked about. Seems that the timing wasn't right back then, but I'm curious to find out if you're now interested in exploring a partnership. And it would be better to send that than nothing, okay? So I want to point that out. Like, obviously, like, done is better than perfect, but if you're wondering why you're sending out all of these emails or messages or whatever, and you're not really getting any responses, then we would look at, or if you're getting a low number of responses, we can look at how do we improve that. And so here's, I sent them what we have used in the past, which is, hey, it's just Andrew from Oxygen Labs here. Is this the same Phil or Bob or Fred that got a quote from us on fixing their HVAC system from us a couple of months back? Is this Bob that got a lead magnet from us like you wouldn't say lead magnet, but you'd say like this lead magnet from us a couple months back? And PR, for instance, like, is this the same Bob that got an article from us, an article published by us here a couple of months back, right? Something along those lines. And so to like make this more relatable for you, I started writing this out and then realized that it was probably a good idea to actually do a video on this to kind of like fill in the blanks, if you will. So if you think about this from number one, from the simple rule of like copywriting is to remove any unnecessary words that don't sell. So it's been some time, I'm curious to find out. Stuff like that is usually like, bleh, you see that, you instantly know somebody's trying to sell you something, right? That's the last thing you want. So think about it in this light, right? So you're not likely to get a very good response to a cold pitch on your first date or somebody that you haven't seen in some time, right? So think about it like if you met a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, like a potential partner, a potential mate, a male, female, whoever it is for you, at a bar one night. You had a great night, you really connected, and, maybe you had dinner, you had some drinks, you went out on the town, whatever, you did sleep together, you didn't sleep together, it doesn't matter. Okay. At that point, you had an interaction. You maybe even made out in the car, but you didn't quite make it up to the apartment. Okay. It doesn't matter where you left off in that interaction. If you haven't seen them, maybe you had a really great night. You really thought you connected, but you just didn't exchange numbers, whatever the case might be. And then you don't see them for 6 months. Now you run into them again. And do you walk up to them and say, oh, hey, Trisha, it's been some time since we last talked. I don't know if you remember, I previously talked to you about your life and dating and, the timing just wasn't really right back then, but I'm curious to find out if you're interested in sleeping with me sometime this evening. Like, how well do you think that conversation's going to go, right? So, but think about it. Now think about it from the context of, okay, you walk up to that individual and you say, hey, it's just Andrew. You're Trisha, right? Or you're a photographer, if I remember correctly, right? I think we had dinner and drinks and stuff like a few months back, didn't we? Doesn't that sound a lot more casual and like maybe I'm going to actually open up and strike a conversation with this individual? So if you think about it in that context and try to imagine, like, how would I open up to somebody who I genuinely want to listen to me? And this is the mistake that I often see in people when they're trying to do any type of messaging. And so it can be kind of hard to come up with if you haven't been in the game for a long time. It's kind of like when you're trying to figure out dating and stuff, right? So, you could come up with a bunch of cheesy pickup lines, and that's what a lot of people try to do. They try to come up with this cheesy subject line, try to come up with a really cheesy first line, right? And so, you can walk up to somebody and say, like, how much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. Hi, right? That might get them to chuckle at you a little bit, but are they really going to listen to what it is that you're trying to sell them? Like, how many times have you walked up and said, is there a mirror in your pants because I can see myself in them? And actually had that turn around to like, hey, I want to go home with you tonight, right? Like that doesn't really happen very often that I've seen anyway. I could be wrong, okay? So very much the same if you write subject lines, if you write messages, if you send out cold DMs, cold emails, cold calls, and you say, hey, my name's so-and-so from such and such, and I'm just interested in finding out. I'm curious to know, would you be interested in having intercourse at some point in our relationship? Like, that doesn't work. It's not going to work, right? So, and it's not to poke fun at anything, but the point of kind of making light of that situation isn't to make fun of you or what you're trying to do, because as I said, having the courage to walk up to that woman in the first place, that man in the first place, and say, hey, my name's Bob, and it's nice to meet you, is better than standing over in the corner and staring at them like a creep and never having the courage to go up and say anything to them, right? Because number one, you're never going to get anything that way. You're never going to get anywhere. You won't end up having any interaction or any social, like, anything. You're not going to make any money, right? If you're still in the analogy, that would make you a hooker. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you're trying to, like, talk to a potential client and you're still over in the corner trying to figure out, like, did my emails warm long enough? What if I text and then they stop my texting? And then what if I send out emails and they go into spam? Oh my God, what am I ever going to do? Just do it, right? Like, if you just do it and get yourself out there to do it, you're going to be far better off and then improve on your game, right? Get in the game first and then improve on how you take your shots and how you do whatever you got to do, right? So hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions or anything. And since I'm on the topic, I would love to let you know that if you're interested, next Friday, I'm actually having an event where I'm going to bring the messaging God to a group of people, my group, to show everyone essentially how to have conversations in DMs with people and actually sell. He has sold millions. I think he's into the hundreds of millions at this point. If not, he's definitely into the tens of millions of dollars through cold DMs, and purely by having conversations over direct messaging. He's sold $50,000, $60,000 products direct through messaging alone. He is an absolute beast. He is a messaging god. I have gotten him to come in and provide over like an hour of actual pure value to the group entirely for free. So if you're interested in attending that call, let me know. Feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to invite you to that. And if it's after that date, I'll be happy to provide you a replay. So feel free to reach out for that at any point in time. But I would highly recommend that you attend, especially if you're not super great at sending DMs yet, or if you're just getting started, or if, God forbid, you're the individual that sends out all of those nonsense, horrible spam DMs to everybody where you literally say, hey, you want to buy my stuff? Before you even know if they have a wallet. So if that's you, you definitely want to come to this. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me. If you have any questions or anything, feel free. Like I said, again, my name's Andrew Nagel with Oxygen Labs, and I look forward to helping you in the future. Take care.